What's up, vinyl community? Cliff the Vinyl Cheapskate here, coming at you with another Friday drinking music. Drinking more of this German beer that I like, Hopzickel, dry Hopzickel. Still on sale for $4 at my beer store, so I found one I like. I'm sticking with it. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Cheesecake Channel. Anyway, busy week. Been doing almost daily posts on Instagram, doing cataloging my whole record collection. So if you're interested in seeing everything I got, except for like the newer stuff, like I've gotten stuff since I started that's not in there, but besides that, it's like pretty much my entire record collection posted on Instagram over the last like month or so. I've been doing it, but I made it to the rock section, and I've been posting the rock section the last week or like the last week, about the last week. So I was going through, and I just wanted to highlight some of my rock records that are some of the either underappreciated albums by bigger bands, and a couple of those, some bands that are kind of unknown, some one-off bands, stuff like that. So stuff that's like old rock and roll. It's all stuff not all. There's a couple modern bands, like who we're listening to right now is a modern band. We're listening to Admiral, Sir Cloudsley Shovel, Johnny Gorilla's guitar player in this band. Definite great throwback, kind of stonery, heavy rock stuff. On Rise Above Records, so I'm sure I'm gonna get a copyright strike. But still, really cool stuff. Love this band. I wanted to showcase them, and every time I listen to them, I get stoked again to hear them. But they're a modern band. I believe they put out a new record either last year or 2020. I don't have that, but I want to get it. And again, I'm gonna do. I like the needle drop at the end, so you're gonna get half of a single at the end of some more. Sorry, I left my records over there. Of some more unknown, underappreciated rock and roll. One of my few rock and roll singles that I've got. But yeah, let's get this thing started. I pulled a bunch. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of them. But let's start off with... Let's see. What are we going to start with? Alright, let's start off with one that I think is an underrated album by a pretty well-known band. And that's Humble Pie's Street Rats. This is one of their like mid to late 70s releases. So like they kind of were like not all in on the heavy rock stuff anymore. I loved their first couple records, but I really like this one too. A little more of like not really a blues rock. They kind of ditched the blues a little, and more of like a straightforward rock and roll record. The song Street Rat, it's a killer, and the song Rock and Roll Music, killer. But this is a great Humble Pie album. Often gets overlooked, I think. But check this one out. They're looking cool on the back there. But yeah, Humble Pie. Another one that gets overlooked a bunch, I think, in rock and roll. And this one, I know like rock and roll people, but I just never see this really shown on the VC. And I think it was just a super well known and they just sold a ton of them. But Edgar Winter Group, They Come Out at Night. This is an excellent album. It's Edgar Winter's best by far. But yeah, dude, Round and Round. It's got Frankenstein on it. Free Ride. Rock and Roll, Boogie Woogie Blues. Every song on here is a banger, and I still love this album even to this day. Every time I hear Frankenstein, I'm just like, it's just a head bobber. But yeah, I feel like this one's overlooked a bunch too. Not a ton by like people who love rock and roll. It's like one of those records where when you hear it, you go, "Oh yeah, that record's really freaking good," and it kind of just like gets put behind. It's always really cheap. Like if you see this, I spent $1 on this record. That's what I spent on this. So cheap heat right here, for sure. Another band you never hear about. These guys are a little more on the glammy side, kind of bar rocky, glammy stuff. But Heavy Metal Kids. They shortened up to the Kids. It's not the punk rock Kids. It's a different band. But this is like glammy, hard rock from England. I think they're from England. I'm pretty sure they were from England. But yeah, this is a really good record. Hanging On, Ain't It Hard. All the songs on here, just really good stuff. But yeah, fun record. I've spun it a couple times and I really enjoy it. I kind of picked this up as a blind buy-ish. Like I've seen the record and I always thought it looked cool, but I found it for cheap. So I went for it and put it in with them, and I was really glad I did. But yeah, Heavy Metal Kids, another underappreciated album. One from a little bit more of an obscure band, and I think that I have seen this shown on the BC before. I think that our man Cosmic Brian showed this once. But this Haystacks Balboa. So, Haystacks Balboa, great guitar player. They got another huge dude with an afro, looks a lot like Leslie West. And I think that Cosmic Brian actually mentioned that as well. But Haystacks Balboa, what's about this record in particular, somebody showed this on Instagram, and they play like a little snip at the end of their Instagram, and they played the song, I think it was, I don't remember which song it was. I think it was the song The Children of Heaven. I think they played a snippet of that song, and it was heavy as hell. And I was like, man, that sounds really cool. What is it? And he was talking to me, and we talked back and forth a little, and he's like, I got an extra copy. I'll just send it to you. So he sent me this copy. It's got some ring wear. It's in great shape. Plays great. But yeah, it was cool to get this in the mail. It was over COVID, and people were all hooked, and I'd gotten a lot more active on my Instagram during COVID, and I was just talking to random people on Instagram. But he sent me this, and really great stuff. So never hurts to like interact with people for like over the internet sometimes. But yeah, Haystacks Balboa. This is a really cool kind of like heavy album with some psych bits thrown in. Really good stuff. Another one that's kind of a little unknown. This Strange Affair, Help Yourself. Or is it Help Yourself, Strange Affair? I don't remember which one's the band name and which one's the the album name, but Help Yourself, Strange Affair. This is a cool album. It reminds me a bit of like Crosby, Stills and Nash, and that kind of like folkier side of like kind of psyche, kind of folky, a little more on the mainstream side, but really well-written songs, really good musicianship, just really cool band. I don't think a lot of people really dive into this band stuff, but this was really good, and this was one I found on eBay. But yeah, really cool stuff. I thought it was a promo, but I'm wrong. It wasn't a promo. Cool stuff though. Really excellent. Came with the inner. I got the original inner sleeve in there. Really good shape too. It's got a little stamp on the back, but that doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, Strange Affair, Help Yourself. Cool band. Another one that I feel like falls through the cracks a little bit. Not really too well known, but this is a really good album. It's a little weirder. It's on the krautrock side of things, but a little folkier. But that's Furse and Froling, Amberland. I'd never heard of this, but when I saw it and I saw the name, I was like, this has to be like a krautrocky band. And it is. It's a guitarist and a guy on the Moog, or some sort of synthesizer. And let's see if it says, oh yeah, it's a Moog, a Mellotron grand piano synthesizer. And Furse is the electronics guy, and Froling is the guitar guy. But what this really sounds like to me, it's like Super Nintendo RPG music, but with a little bit of like a folky rock twist to it. Really, really good stuff. This is really cool, like relaxing music. It's great coffee music to just pop on and drink some coffee, hang out to, but really good stuff. And kind of unknown. I've listened to some other Furse and Froling stuff, and I don't like any of the stuff I've heard as much as this one. So this would be the one that I would suggest getting. None of it's really bad, but I think this is the best of the bunch. Amberland by Furse and Froling. Alright, let's go with this guy. I don't know if this one's really underrated, but everyone who knows this album seems to love it, and my cover is all kinds of trashed, but the record's in perfect condition, and I got it for cheap, so I went for it. But that's Randy California and Captain Copper and the Fabulous Twirlybirds. Just, it's got to have like one of the coolest band pictures on the cover of this. And then the picture on the back, super cool too. They're all walking to their helicopter. Pretty sweet stuff. But this is not really that like heavy of an album. It's got really solid songwriting, really great guitar work, because Randy California was an excellent guitar player. Weird thing about Randy California, he drowned saving his son, which was kind of a shame. Really sad, but really excellent record right here. If you could find this for a good price, I think I paid like $6 for this beat up old copy. It's completely split up top. It's got all kinds of water damage and shit, but still excellent record. I think I'm gonna spin this after we're done the video, because I haven't listened to it in a while and I really love this record. One of these days I am gonna pony up the cash for a solid copy of this, but I always forget about it, and then when I find it and I'm like, man, I need to buy a new copy of that. But excellent record. Randy California, Captain Copper and the Fabulous Twirlybirds. Just 3 more, and then you guys can get going. Another great one. This one's a one-off. They only put out one album, but this is a good heavy rock, classic rock record, just straight up. Reminds me a bit of like Jimi Hendrix Worship, but in a really, really great way. Yeah, see, it says in tribute to Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Brian Jones. So you know what you're getting. If you read that, you know what you're getting on this album. That's exactly what it does. It does a perfect wrap up of all those bands. This is another really cool album. The problem with this album, at least the cover wise, is that it gets real filthy because it's got like that like textured paper cover. But Hawking has signed it for me, so whoever Hawking is, thank you very much for that. It's on the, I forget what label this is on. What's it on? It says down here, right? This is another one that I got for cheap. It's split. Pickwick International. But yeah, not really as psyche as this looks. It's kind of straightforward rock and roll, heavy rock. Little touches of some weird psyche stuff, some nice grooves on there and stuff. But really cool album. I don't see people talking about this album a lot, and I think it's just because it's a one-off album. I don't think they put anything else out, and it's just a cool album cover. I love that the album cover looks like an eighth grader drew it. So I think it's kind of awesome. But really awesome band right here. Another one that I don't see a ton of, and I think this is kind of a rare one. It's on Coalition Records. Freedom Through the Years. This is just a really solid, good, heavy blues rock album. Lots of great grooves, great bluesy riffs, just really good stuff. If you like blues rock of any sort, this is the good kind. I get kind of burnt out on blues rock. A lot of it sounds the same, but this one is a standout blues rock title that I think is worth checking out. Freedom Through the Years. And, it's really fun looking through and doing this Instagram thing where I'm taking pictures of all these albums and reminding myself which ones I really like. So one more LP, and then I'm going to show you the 7-inch, and I'll put the needle drop on and let it rip. But Fat, self-titled. This is the best of theirs. It's the heaviest. There's a little bluesiness to it, but it's like kind of just a heavier rock album. Again, with really good songwriting. They have a second album, which I do want, but I've listened to it on YouTube, and I don't like it as much. But this is a sick album too. Really good, heavy 70s rock from 1970. It's got that early, going into hard rock sound where it's kind of coming out of that psychedelic feel into the hard rock. And this is just a really solid album. Really cool stuff. Not quite southern rock, but has some of that feel to it at parts. Excellent stuff. And last but not least, Canadian band, Sex, Come Wake Up, and Not Yet, single. Got this for pretty cheap. I'm going to do a needle drop on this, but I'm going to give you guys a warning. It is a little noisy. But yeah, that's what I got. I just wanted to show some rock and roll stuff. I've been showing a lot of punk and hardcore lately. It's really a lot of what I've been listening to lately, so it's been on my mind. But I know I've had a couple heavy metal records in there too, but I've been listening to a lot of heavy metal and hard rock or heavy metal and hardcore, but this hard rock stuff is great too, and I have a lot of it. I think I have more rock records than I have of any other genre, really, but I don't show them as much because I don't think the people that watch my channel are as interested in it. But as a kid, I grew up with a dad who plays guitar, who played bass and bands, and all these songs I knew really well, and then I kind of got burnt out on the stuff that was on the radio, so I never really got into it when I was a kid, and punk and hardcore came in. And then when I got older, I started discovering all these older bands. There's thousands of older bands that are around and really cool to listen to. So definitely dig in and explore this stuff once in a while and enjoy the music, man. That's all. Anyway, that's all I got for you. I'm going to pop this on. I'm going to get my setup over there for you guys. And cheers. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And that's all I got. Friday Drinking Music. Cheers.